All right. So
Just
for you, what is subjective? I'm curious. What are
so
what are
this is the first time I've ever said this out loud or even
Yeah.
thought about it, but it just came to me as you're saying it. The point to me, the subjective is where we get to know each other and
Yeah.
understand the person, and they get to trust me and see if we're a good fit and all those things like that. That's subjective. Like often those things don't even dramatically change what you do. You know, it's more if you have a relationship with the person.
Yeah.
It's not the details of the subjective. Maybe it's more the feeling as well.
The thing I said once to a professor in PT school after a clinical affiliation. So I came back after 6 or 8 weeks, and I remember I said, most of the time the patient, it was in the winter, most of the time the patient still smells like outside, like they're still cold. And I've already got them like on the table, and I'm like, that feels too fast to me. And they're like, well, you got to move at the speed. And I'm like, but they're not warmed up. Like they're quite literally cold. And I've already got them like, we're past the getting to know. Like I'm just telling you what to do. I'm like, this feels like a real bad way to start a relationship in which I need you to own more of this than me just tell you stuff.
Yeah.
If I start off by telling you stuff.
That's funny. I mean, it's the same thing with the objective. It's overrated too. Or the same thing when we do an objective. I doubt you're really finding anything that's actionable. You're doing the objective again because you're building a relationship and trying to get a sense of trust and confidence, and people expect it, so you have to do it as well, and just to show them. But we all know the diagnosis usually before the objective.
Right. So how would you teach? So you just mentioned like sort of the more important reasons or the more important goals of a subjective, which is really get to know someone, right? It's not an information purge. It's not what would be the most important reason for the objective portion? Is that still getting to know them, or this is now getting to know how they move and not the person?
So I honestly think, like, when you look at the objective, we know that most of our tests aren't telling us what tissues are damaged or things like that. They're not very specific to
Right.
tissue. And all we're really doing is recreating pain. That's fine. So if you look at what you're really trying to do there, and that might help you choose some exercises, but not necessarily. So we're just trying to recreate pain. And then, which is really just showing to someone that you understand them and what's going on. And then all of the other tests you do are also doing that, showing that, look, I've done these tests. I understand. I'm not just guessing here. So you are confirming to yourself that you're right. Most of the time you are, but you're also showing to the person that you're doing it. And you'll see people that we'll talk about this, where they palpate their back. They palpate someone's spine. The person came in and told you that their back hurt. It's probably going to be tender upon palpation. But you do that, and people appreciate that, right? You didn't get any extra information, but it was still probably valuable to the person, right? So I would say that our objective is doing, or the other way to view the objective, which a lot of people talk about now, which I like, because I'm just going out there to confirm my biases. I only want information that agrees with me. Is you point out how great people are. Look, you have a wonderful straight leg raise. You have the nicest reflex I've ever seen. That must have been like 36 milliseconds. That was on fire, or not on fire. That was the right amount of temperature it should be, or whatever. Like you do all these tests, and you're just saying, look how great you are. This is good. This is good. This is good. You know, all of those things. I went to the doctor today, and he did that. I thought I had actinic keratosis. I get this dry stuff. He's like, oh, well, it's not this, it's not that, it's not that. That's great. This is what a bad one looks like. And he pulled out Google. So he just did the exam to tell me how good it was. I don't think he thought like that, but it ended up happening. And I said, and that's what we do sometimes as well for so many things.
Yeah. Getting to know the person.